On the day, as we look at the Nasdaq and as we look at the SP 500, there's some very big similarities we've seen in the overall trend right now. Now, as you go to about the 1 hour chart and we zoom out here and we really look at how we've moved up, it seems like you're gearing up for a similar type flag, if you will, for the upside test. Now, before we get into all this content and trades going into today, I have to ask you to consider doing two things: liking and subscribing. It helps out tremendously. And I'm posting videos every single day, so you are updated with the news to come and how the market is moving. Now, if you missed yesterday's video, I really recommend watching this one because it gives you a very broad overall look on what's happening with the market and what to expect going into the next few months. I'm probably going to pin this on the page so people can really look at this, but I recommend watching this one. Now, as we talk about today, I want to talk about what I traded and kind of where I went wrong on my trading plan today. Now, specifically with the market, I told everyone that you're coming to some crucial times, and we're going to really start breaking this down in depth. So I want to make sure I go over what I'm doing as well. Now, the only trade, and I actually posted this on Twitter as well, but the only trade I took was actually Microsoft. I got it around this morning, around 10 a.m. I got 305 for 292.5s for next week, and I was really just looking for a day trade. I have some already leaps sitting in here, so I'm already pretty happy with my position, but I'm obviously still trying to day trade here, right? Now, as we look at what's happening, you got some initial pressure this morning for that upside, and then boom, you kind of shot back down on Nasdaq. Coming to the Nasdaq, I want to talk about what's happening here and how this led into my trade going on. Now, when we look at what's happening with the market, we saw this morning some dump, and then around 9 o'clock, you bottomed out and you pushed up. Now, when we talk about this dip here, what I want to discuss is where you are bouncing. Now, if we go back to the 4 hour chart, we've talked about this as well yesterday. Your previous high here on August 8th. So you pushed up, you got rejected back down, and then you made your break back up, which eventually you pushed towards our target, 13.6, 13.5, and then eventually 13.7. Now you're bouncing at previous highs. This is what we've been talking about nonstop. The Nasdaq continues to make the same trend. You go to your previous highs, you hold, and then you continue up, right? And if we look back, you can just see the overall trend test again, and again. It just keeps happening, right? So just go look at it for yourself. Now, when we're looking here, I decided to grab some calls on a stock I was liking, like Microsoft. Now, I'm going to go to the 15-minute chart just to give you just a breakdown of what's happened throughout the day. So you come out, again, 9 o'clock, you bounce up, we ride that momentum up, specifically on Microsoft. Now, when we get here, these contracts got to around 355, and I told everyone at that point when we hit 360, I'd like to cut half because it was about 20%, and my stop loss was at 10%, so no matter what, I would be up on that trade, even if we had stop losses. Now, of course, you come to your weekly on Nasdaq, and you reject it, and you never got back there. Microsoft, on the other hand, ended up going higher than it did previously in the morning, right? So you push up even higher. However, contracts just never hit my targets, and we eventually came down, and I got stopped out. So today, we only took one trade once again, and it was a loser in Discord. So I like to just remain transparent with you guys, so you know you're not getting any lies or any half-truths when you're here on the channel. That's why I always try to keep it very honest with you. If you're interested in Discord, the link is down below. But as we're looking here, I want to talk more about NQ and what's happening here, right? So with NQ, you are bouncing at the key level, but you're also not able to get above that weekly level, right? So we've talked about that as well. But we've also talked about what's happening right now. So I believe short term, it's most likely that we've made a short-term top here. I think right now, this is our top for the week on Nasdaq. I could be wrong. I've already mentioned that it looks like you're trying to get continuation here. You want to get that bounce back up. Buyers are stepping in when you come down to those key levels. That's always good to see. However, I do believe it's just going to take until GDP before we get either a break up or a nasty break to the downside, okay? And GDP is next Thursday. I actually was wrong. It is not next Wednesday. It's next Thursday. So this is a lot of time, and I very well could be wrong. I'll have to readjust this if, we come out or something else changes. But as of right now, I think this is a short-term top here. Now, when we go over to ES and look at SP 500 futures, a lot more stuff going on here. So what I really want to discuss is kind of the people are calling this a wedge, whatever you want to call it. I don't really care what you call it again, but you continue to trade in this trend up, right? And you're coming to the bottom of the trend, and now you're trying to bounce back above that 4,300. We also mentioned yesterday, what did we talk about with this? We said there's a clear rejection there when you couldn't get above. So today you come down. This is where you got rejected yesterday, and you come into today, boom, test, didn't make it. make it again, and then get rejected. So you are making higher lows there. So that does look bullish, right? That still looks strong. You're making higher lows on the day, and you're making higher highs as well. That is strong. However, 4,300 is still a massive level. But looking into tomorrow, if you're looking to trade and you're looking for any type of plays, what I would be looking for is ES specifically here. If ES, you get above 4,300, you're looking for the retest, and you're looking to keep trading towards that upside. Again, the downside pressure here just isn't worth it for me. I am not looking to trade downside here. Why? Because there's no real bearish news or bearish narrative. Now, if you want to hear my long-term narrative, go watch this video right here. Thursday, selling it all. Go watch that video. It's a little clickbaity, but it's a broad view over the next few months of what to expect. Now, what I did tell you yesterday was about oil stocks. What is going on with oil stocks? You gapped up again. You're pushing up. Exxon, Oxy. What about natural gas? Natural gas still sitting at very high levels. Looks like a very clear cup and handle when you go to the 4-hour chart. Look at what's happening here. Cup and handle, very clear. Also going into FANG, one of my favorite stocks I mentioned to you guys yesterday. Look, you're pushing right back up. I didn't get into these. I have some of these oil stocks in my long-term account, but looking at this right now, oil is definitely getting a lot of the love. Going back to that oil chart as well, US oil. It's a clear wedge on the 4-hour chart. You look at this 4-hour chart, you are wedged since the market topped off or bottomed out. You're wedging here on oil, coming to a key support, which was your November high back here in 21 of November. So that's very big. So going into this, what am I looking at? What am I expecting? Now, again, until GDP, which is next Thursday, okay, I had to correct myself. Until GDP comes out, I believe you have to side with the upward pressure. However, it's very clear to me that it's going to be choppy. In my opinion, the next few days, they're just choppy back and forth, back and forth. You're not getting a clear breakout. Now, if Nasdaq can break above this weekly, maybe you push back to 13.7. It's possible. But I'm just saying, if we go back and look, there was still a lot of resistance in this range. It's not that illiquid anymore. So when we're sitting here, it has to make me sit on the edge of my seat and not really ride the trend like we were before, right? Because we're waiting for some of this key data and key news to come out. Once GDP comes, and if GDP is good and it performs better than anticipated, high chance we start rallying to new highs once again on the local level. So that's what I'm looking for. But until then, there's no reason. Until we get bad news across the board, there is absolutely no reason to be betting on the downside yet, unless you're going for longer dated positions, which is not a day trade. So I want to highlight that specifically. Going into VIX here as well. This is another one of the big indicators we've been talking about. VIX continues to drop, right? So going back, since we've topped out or bottomed out on the S&P and Nasdaq, you've been in this straight trend to the downside here, right? Just coming down, coming down. We're aiming for 18 to 16. That's our target here, to getting some more of those puts or longer term positions for downside pressure, right? Now, when we look at VIX, you are still inching down. Even with this sideways chop or downward pressure that you had this morning, you are still dropping down. Now, when we go over to J&K, another big indicator here, a lot of chop here, which coincides perfectly with what's happening with the market, right? So if we look here, J&K, our risk indicator, which shows us risk on, risk off in the market. J&K, when it's going up, typically there's a lot of risk in the market when people are willing to take bigger bets. Right now, sideways range trading. Again, this is why I'm not trying to hold trades overnight as far as day trades or going into next week weeklies. I'm looking to just kind of sit on my hands here, take what I can get throughout the day. I had a Microsoft trade. It was up almost 20%. I should have just taken it when I had the opportunity. I got a little greedy there. But as we look at this, it's showing you that you're just sitting in specific ranges, chopping back and forth. There's no clear-cut range. There's no clear-cut target. In my opinion, you're sitting here and you are clearly waiting for next Wednesday. That's going to be your very big day. As we look at DXY, the dollar value, you continue to push up. You're bouncing out of this range. You had that bull flag coming down. Now you're breaking back out of it. Looking at the euro to USD, what's going on there? The euro is about to drop below. The euro is about to be worth less than the dollar. Yesterday you were 2 pennies. Now you're less than 1 penny. So congratulations. You're getting very close to that dangerous level as well, which will spike most likely European inflation again as well, which will be very detrimental to them, which in turn will hurt us once again. So all that to say this, again, right now, short term, going into next Thursday, I think there's nothing but upside if that's what you're going to play. Again, I don't think it's the best opportunity to play. Why? Because it's pure chop as of right now, and you're sitting in key ranges. Junk bond show us that, DXY shows us that, and all of our other indicators. Now, if you're betting on downward pressure based on yesterday's video, yesterday's video was not to show you that we were going down. It was to show you what's happening in macroeconomics on a broader scale, to prepare you and to not look at the market from one perspective, but to look at it from multiple and to be prepared for every outcome. If we look at SPY right now, again, the puts were a lot higher yesterday, but you're still seeing calls coming in, which in my opinion still shows that we're still undecided. The biggest orders of the day were calls. Now, when we go over to QQQ, what's happening there? A little bit of a different story. Some of your biggest orders were definitely puts. Going over to SPX, what's happening here? Very mixed. You have a lot of big orders, big sweeps coming in here. However, I have to say, if you look where they're coming at, these were all due to the early part of the day. Some of these were near the end of the day. However, a lot less volume was coming in near the end of the day. If we go over to Bookmap, I want to highlight this as well. Looking at Bookmap, as we zoom out and look at the entire day of what was happening, I don't want to focus on anything besides this line right here at the bottom. See how it goes from green to red? This is your CVD, your cumulative volume delta. It's a very good way to look at overall volume on the market, okay? And so when you're looking at this, it shows buyers versus sellers. And I've gone over this a lot. So typically when we get a really nice just bullish day to where we're just trending, it's typically just in the green going straight up, and you can really spot the breakouts there. But today it was very choppy along with yesterday. So you're seeing it go up and then come down, 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 break up, back down. And then what coincides with this as well is you see here, the blue line represents hidden orders coming in on the dark flow, things like that, dark pool. You're seeing this come in all day to the upside. Whether it not be the biggest orders, there were still buy orders across the board nonstop on the day, correct? And so you see your only sell was down here at the end of the day right here, just one sell order right there. But besides that, it was nothing but upside. This just tells me there's a lot of, I don't want to say misdirection or confusion, but it just shows you that it's flip-flopping back and forth, and it's really choppy to say the least. So this just shows me that there's no clear direction right now. So again, what I want to highlight here is that if you're looking at the market, there's no reason to go short yet, okay? Because if we look at every other case on the 4-hour time frame to when you've really been dipping, right? So if we go back, and I'm just going to tell you the common denominator here, when you're really seeing dips, whether it be right here, whether it be right here, whether it be right here, wherever you're trading, right? All these have in common news, okay? There was big news that brought the market down. So if we're looking right here, it's not just going to be technicals, in my opinion, that say, okay, you're in an ascending wedge, you're going to break down now. That's not what's going to happen because it hasn't happened before. Now, is it possible? Maybe anything has to technically be possible. But if I'm going with what's happened in the past and what continues to happen, I'm going to say that it's news related that's going to push us down, whether it be bad inflation, bad CPI, bad GDP, bad growth, something the Fed says, something along those lines are going to have to be what's going to bring us back down, because that's what's brought us down in the first place, okay? That's what's brought us down back here was Ukraine being invaded, okay? It was all news related. It was not just based on technicals. So people that are just saying technicals, no, you got to realize what was really bringing us down back here. Now, if we look at these were technical drawdowns that we were getting, right? These were technical drawdowns. Right here, you did get some news as well. I highlighted that already. But these were drawdowns, and you're seeing, you're flagging over and over and over, and you're kind of getting the same action right here once again. So I recommend that you just be on your guard. And if you're looking at anything, I think on these scalping to short-term day trading, it has to be towards the upside. And then once we get any type of negative news, whether it be from Ukraine and Russia, whether it be from our own government, whether it be from the European overall Feds, whatever they're saying about their monetary value and their inflation, how it's going to affect us, these are things we need to be looking at, because that's going to be what really moves us and sets the tone going forward. And until we get that type of data, there's no reason to go against the trend, okay? That's what I continue to preach here. The trend is your friend. And if you are trading the trend here, grinding the same level, you've been making money. It's been very easy, and I've been preaching that over and over and over. And there's no reason to flip the script and become a bear because you think we're in a wedge or this or that. Wait for the news, because I guarantee news will come eventually and tell you how you're going to move. But as of right now, it seems until next Thursday, it's just going to be range bound back and forth. Let's go over a few stocks that I'm liking currently right now. Now, I will say Microsoft has been one of my favorites. I'll just explain why. Now, today, it did not go the way I wanted it to, so I want to be very clear about that and address that off the bat. But I will continue to love the way this stock is trading for a few reasons. Your key range you're watching is right here, 289.6. I've gone over why, but you continue to hold it 1, 2, 3. You held it right there at close once again. I do love it. I love the way this is moving, and it still looks strong. And in my opinion, it even looks like you're getting somewhat of a flag going on the 15-minute chart and the 1 hour if you want to look at that as well. So I do like that, and I think Microsoft wants to push up. The thing that's hurting it here, and Jay, thanks, shout out for pointing this out. If you go to the daily chart, looking here on Microsoft, the thing that's holding you down here is your 200 MA, and you're getting rejected right there. Amazon was doing a very similar thing as well. You got rejected right there as well. At around 246, you came back down, and now you're pressing back down right there. So Microsoft, I'm looking at this. I still like it. I still think it has upside. So if you're looking to day trade it, I think you have obvious room back to that 292 level, and it's definitely something you need to be looking out for, because in my opinion, it's just a good mover to that level. Like this morning, we had the day trading opportunity up about 20%. We should have just cut it, taken what we had, and got back into another trade later. Going into Tesla, also love what's going on here. This has been one of the easiest stocks to overall track here. Now, you're obviously just making lower highs across the board. You can just continue to make lower highs, and you're going to see you're making them over and over, but you're holding this key range around 905. What I'm looking for here, J-Ream keeps calling it out in Discord as well. If you start to look bullish tomorrow, you're looking for a mount above 910, a retest, and then pushing back up. Now, I'm not saying you're going to go to 940. That has to be your end goal target, though, but I'd be targeting the daily levels as well. So 918 up again to around 922, and then maybe even a possible retest of the highs up here at 928. So I'd be looking for that test as well. If you're looking at Tesla and you want to trade any type of downside, you've got to break below the monthly level, which is around 903. If you get a break and retest, it would be worth the downside opportunity. I'm not going to lie, just because it moves so well in this range, at least down to 880, 885. So I would be looking there. Although, again, I don't think puts have the best value in comparison to some of these other stocks. Looking at Apple, arguably the most bullish stock that there is on the market. And what does it keep doing day after day after day? It continues to make higher lows continuously. You have your first lower low right there, but you're still moving very strong and ultimately holding the market up. They continue to get price target raises. They have one to 220 and then another to 200. So Apple, definitely one of the strongest stocks out there. Giving you a specific target, hard to do, but I would say about 175.5 would be my top side up here. Over that, it's getting a little bit risky on the day trading aspect. If you're looking for swings, Apple still, in my opinion, very strong stock. Now, last but not least, I'm going to talk about NVIDIA, and then I'm going to let you out of here. NVIDIA has been, man, what a play. So you've come down, you've retested key levels a few times. Now, right now, you're sitting, in my opinion, in one of the bullish formations that we have out here. You're sitting in an obvious bull pennant, and you're making higher lows on the day as well. Even when everything else started dropping near the end of the day. If there's anything that was interested in getting calls on, it would have been NVIDIA. What I'm looking for is a test of 189.5 and then a test back up here to 190.5 as well. That's all I'm looking for here. Maybe get a push to 192, but I think NVIDIA looks extremely bullish as well. I'd be looking for just a clear break and then pushing back up. But ultimately, what you want to see for any type of upward pressure comes back down to ES and Nasdaq. And for ES, you want to see you above 4,300. That's the best bet there, unless you're looking at pure technicals on NVIDIA. Again, I recommend being very careful just doing that. You want to follow indexes because that's going to keep you safe and protect your position as well, as long as you're rocking with these indexes. Have a good one, traders.